Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jimmy Jr. I'm gonna go that route from now on.
Technically, I'm a junior because my dad's a Jimmy too, but
Jimmy too.
He's my junior, so that's how that one goes.
So today, guys, we are going to be putting a leveling kit on Jimmy Senior's F250 Superduty.
The reason for that is we had the death wobble, which freaked us out a little bit. So we wanted to put the dual steering stabilizer up front, but it's almost impossible to find a kit for this unless it has the leveling done to it, because it hits the track bar.
Yeah, which if you guys haven't seen it, we did install the steering stabilizer and front shocks. If you want to, I'll throw it up there. So if you guys want to watch that video, but we're going to be changing all of that today just to make this leveling kit work good, because it's all going to be different.
We noticed when we put the other one on, we hit a big enough bump, it would it would hit the track bar and push it down to the steering.
And it would just make a slam noise.
Yeah,
like
it was terrible.
You hit like a bridge transition, a pretty rough one. We're in upstate New York, so we got some potholes and some transitions like you won't believe, and you would just hear it just poof, just clunk.
Yeah, so to mitigate that, so we can put those dual steer stabilizers on here, is the leveling kit. We do tow a lot, so I was worried about the leveling kit because I wanted to keep that rake, but we did put the airbags on here. Another video if you haven't seen that.
I'll put it up there again.
We did put the airbags on here, so now I can level it if I need to when I'm towing. So that'll mediate that problem.
Yeah, so if you guys have a 150 like moi and you want to see a leveling kit installed in your truck, just drop it in the comment section, because I'm going to be up next. This one I hear is easier to put a leveling kit on than the F-150s. I was thinking about getting it done at a garage, but like we have everything to do it here. So, I mean, that is the channel, a little bit of everything. So
we did purchase the most popular one for this is the Readylift. We'll show you that here in a sec. And the reason we're changing the shocks again is the kit comes with like the spacers for your shocks, so you can just use your stock shocks. But we're gonna go with the longer shocks, so we don't have to have that spacer in there, since we're doing it anyway. So with all that being said, let's show you what we got here and we'll get this job started. The first thing we're gonna have to do is jack this up and take the wheels off. Make sure you put your jack stands under there.
You got to be safe, guys,
because you are gonna have to lower your front axle, so you gotta jack it up, put it under the frame. So let's show you what we got.
Alright guys, I'm going to show you some of the components. So here we have the front shocks that we're putting on, since we're replacing the ones that are previously on there. And then in this box right here, we have the new front stabilizer kit.
The dual steer stabilizer.
Yeah, dual stabilizing kit. Alright, and let's get over to the lift. Well, leveling lift.
Yeah, this is the Readylift leveling kit for the 17 through... what's it, 17 through 19 or something like that? F250, 350. This is the one with the track bar relocation bracket, which you're definitely going to want. Otherwise, alignments and stuff like that will be all messed up. But complete kit, nice kit. We'll get this started and put it on there. All right, guys, this is me from the future giving you guys a step that you should probably do before you jack this up or take off your tires. If you can, line up your truck with something where you can see where the headlights are positioned, because as soon as this levels up, you're going to probably want to adjust your headlights so you're not flashing somebody in the face. So that's just a reminder now. Also, on the instructions, it has the vehicle height measurements, so you can do before and after of what your height is. So measure, you're from the top of your wheel to the bottom of your fender, and then you can see what it is after. Alright everybody, so we're underneath the front of the truck. So for this job, you're going to want two jacks. So you're going to want one for the right side and the left side. These F250s don't have the pumpkin in the center, so you can't just like jack underneath the pumpkin to lift up both fronts at the same time. So it's definitely better to have two people when you actually set these on the jack stands, so you don't have any oopsies. You want to be as safe as possible. So right now, Jimmy there is using a bottle jack as the other side. What is that, 20 ton? Yeah, it's a little overkill, but...
make sure... it's better overkill anyway, You don't want any oopsies.
This is the diesel, so it's not as light.
Yeah, it's heavy. So he's going to be doing that. We got this jack set in position, so when everything's ready, we'll start pumping them semi-equally. Just as a little side note, guys, these trucks are rear-wheel drive, but always block the tire if you can, just to be safe. And the other thing I wanted to mention here is the jack stands we're going to be using. When you're lifting up a big old pickup truck, please use a suitable jack stand for your application. This is a pretty heavy-duty jack stand. It's not like a small little baby one that lifts up a car. So make sure you got the right equipment.
All right, guys, when you're putting the jack stand under here, The first place you can put on the frame is right behind the swing arm here. You want it right behind that because this has got to move with the axle. So right here's the spot you're going to want to put that. It's a good spot for it.
Yeah, saves you some trouble later on in case you put it up on that swing arm. You don't have to.
Yeah, and then your axle won't drop. You'd be like, what's up?
Yeah.
So right here's where you want to put that. Remember, right behind the swing arm.
So we got the tire off here, so I'm going to let Jimmy do some explaining here.
All right, the first steps, according to the directions, which you can see are pretty nice directions, colored pictures. It makes this job a lot easier. But first steps you're going to want to do after you jack it up and get the tires off is you're going to release the brake line from the frame and from the side of the bottom of the spring perch. You're also going to want to take the bolts out of the sway arm, the sway arm, and then you're going to want to take the bottom bolt out of the shock. That's the only thing's holding your axle up. So once you get those released, you go to the other side and do that. Then you can start lowering your axle a little bit.
So the key to this is trying to do both sides kind of equal as you go. You can't just do all one side, then go to the other and do it. Try to balance it out.
Like for us, we're going to take the shock completely off because we are switching them to the longer shock instead of having the spacer.
So we'll explain in the video and some of these steps if we're doing a step that is for like something that you wouldn't have to do for the leveling kit, because we are doing a steering stabilizer and these front shocks. So getting started, guys. What size was that again?
This one's a 10 millimeter here.
10 and 13 above, right?
And this one up here is the 13 millimeter.
Save you guys a little bit of time wondering what you're gonna need, so. So these ones over here is going to be a 50. Then after he gets that going, we're going to be taking off this bottom bolt on the front shock.
And that's an 18?
Yeah, but you're probably going to want a wrench because you have to keep your wheels straight for this process. I mean, if you were to turn your wheels, if you were just replacing your front shocks, you could use something else, but wrench. You can do it, even though I'm in your way.
Cool, the axle will drop now. All right, since we took this bottom one out, that would be where most of you have to go because it does come with that spacer for this. But since we're changing out to the longer shock, we got to take the other one out, 18 up top also. We're just going to take ours right out.
Little side note for you guys, make sure that you take the brake line out of this little clip right here. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the light and use a gimbal before you drop the axle so you don't mess up your brake line. Go ahead.
Another step in the directions, it says to loosen your bolt on the radius arm at the frame. That'll help your axle swing down. We're gonna not do that right now unless we need to, but according to the directions, you just loosen it and it'll help your arm swing down, but we're not gonna do that right now. All right, what we're doing now is we're lowering the jacks. Since you have two, you gotta have two people lower them, or you do a little bit on each side. Just enough so you can get enough room to pull this spring out. It'll drop down, allow you to pull that spring out. That's all you're trying to do.
So we're gonna have him do it with just one person, just so if you guys were trying to do this job yourself, it can be done. You're just gonna alternate from one side to the other a little bit at a time. You can do this with two people, you just equally lower it. Plus, you know, you need somebody to record, so. We are back we didn't get it fully recorded. We're just going to explain it. It was something that we needed to do a little problem solving. So our bottle jack down here was a little bit too tall. We needed the axle to still go lower. So we just got a scissor jack, you know, like the one you'd have to change a spare tire on your car, to lift up a little bit. We moved the bottle jack and slowly lowered it some more so we had enough space to actually pull the whole entire spring out, which you got over here, right? Boom, we have spring out.
Here's the rubber isolator for the top of the spring. When you get your spacer for the leveling, it's going to go in top of the rubber, and then it comes with this polyurethane, whatever the material that is, but that's going to go on top, and then you put that up in to the truck.
And then this, theoretically speaking, should be as simple as putting it all back together.
It is, but when you put your springs back on, make sure they sit where they were.
Yeah.
You'll see where the end of the spring sat, and on the bottom there's a stop for that also.
Which we'll show you guys when we get up to that point.
All right, you got the bottom part of your spring. You can see here on the spring base, there's a stop right there. That's where the end of that spring goes. You want to make sure they're straight. And then the same thing with the rubber part, like we were saying, it's got the stop. That's going to go at the end of your spring. So that's how you set that in there. And then once you get it up in there, you can turn this around so the label faces out, whichever you prefer.
So we had to do a little bit more creativeness to get this to work, because problem with not having a lift in your garage is you couldn't lower the axle enough. So we're to the point now where this is about as low as the axle will go. If you guys run into this problem, you need to lower it. Just make sure that everything is clear wire-wise. I mean, we unplugged everything on this side, but there's a hose from the differential, like a what is that, breather hose? I mean,
it's a breather hose.
I busted it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'll admit I made an oopsie. But going this low gives us enough space to get it in here.
Almost.
Well, I could lift the other side, which will push this side down.
We're gonna have to. That's some.
Cool. So we will fudge with this and then get back to you guys. Right, guys, so we finally got everything in order for fitting this in here. So we got this one lined up. We made sure that the Readylift was aimed out towards us. It's the same for the other side. So now we move the scissor jack to put the jack back underneath so we can fit our bottle jack to that other side so we can start to lift them up equally.
Then it's pretty much reverse what you did. Except for we're going to put the spacer to drop here. We're going to have to take this one off. This one's ridiculous. It's huge.
Yeah.
So, but this here's personal preference. You can have it faced in or out. It don't matter. It's only a sticker.
You'll probably see it though, so I'd keep the sticker out, yeah. Okay, everybody, this is the sway bar drop bracket. Sway bar drop bracket. So just to give you some reference, this is the front of the truck. So you're gonna want this downward slope, just like this, how we have it. So this is a little bit close up for you guys. There you go. You wanna add anything else?
Yeah, you're using the factory hardware to attach this to the frame, and then you're using the new hardware to attach your sway bar to it. So that's what we're doing on both sides. So we're gonna tighten that up and hook it up and go to the other side.
For the torque specs to go back on here, it's 45 foot-pounds. You may be wondering how this is going in there. There's a big hole in the bottom of this so you can actually get to the bolt and nut.
Give them a shot.
Let me see. We have a new gimbal, guys, so we're playing around with it. Let's see if we can. Yeah, see that little hole right there? So you can actually reach it up there.
All right, guys, the next step after you put those sway bar extensions on is now they want you to put the shock extensions on. But what we did, we opted for the longer shock already, so we don't have to put this on. But if you're using your stock shocks, you'll definitely want well, you can't do it without this extension. So, but like I said, for us, we just bought the longer shock, so we didn't have to have this in there. So let's put these shocks on. All right, guys, we got the top one set in here. Don't forget to put your boot on. I've done that a couple times. Now we're just going to lift up on this to try to get that bottom bolt in. You got to compress it. It's not fun. There we go. We got it in there. Ours seems to be tight always on this side for some reason. All right, we got that placed there. Just put your bolt through like that, and then you get your nut on there. And that's it for this. And we'll go to the other side and get the other side done. Guys, now that you have your sway bar reconnected to the drop brackets and you have your new shock put on, the next step is to reattach this lower brake bracket back on there. That's with your 10 millimeter. So we'll get that going. you go. 5 foot-pounds for those. And then the top one, it's got a bracket that came with it. It's going to relocate where it goes. So we're going to want to attach that with the hardware that came. All right, first thing we're going to do is put this on our bracket here. Put the bolt in from behind. This is where we're going to use the washer on both sides and the one nut. These are 13 millimeter. Whoa. Good catch, all right. And you'll know when you're putting these on what side of the car this goes on. This is, as you got the hump here, the hump's going to go towards your spring. So that'll help you. It took us a minute to figure that out too. So now the hard part where you're kind of freaked out is trying to stretch these lines. But you're just going to pull down a little bit until you get them in the holder. And then you're going to put your 13 millimeter through here. So we got it in there. You just got to give it a little tug. I know it feels funny. You just give it a little tug. Make sure it's not rubbing anywhere. 13 millimeter. 5 foot-pounds for that as well. But that's on. You can re-put your line back in the holder here on the frame. Put it back in there. Make sure your line's not hitting anything. It's not in the way of anything. We'll stick it back in there. See, just like that. It's out of the way. Bracket looks good. Don't forget to tighten that up. Okay, the next thing the direction says you do is we got to take this factory bump stop out. You just pry it to an angle and pull down. It will come down. Gotta get 2 hands in there. I might block you guys. There you go. That's all it takes there. I say all it takes. It did take a little bit of pressure. Next we're going to take is this factory mount off because we got to put the spacer in there as well. So let's do that. I think that was a 10 millimeter for that. There we go. And then this spacer will be the one that goes there. You can see on the factory one we just took off has this little dent. That's going to go in this hole on this thing. So that way you know what side to put it on. All right, guys. Like I said, before we put that bump stop back on with the spacer, we're going to change our track bar because our kit has that. You're going to want that. So 30 millimeter socket, wrench on the other side. So let's loosen that. You're going to want a big boy impact probably. I did put penetrating oil on there.
In full disclosure.
Yeah, I did. Pull this out. We'll lower the track bar. That's a big one.
Thick.
And we should be able to get a pry bar in there, hopefully. Boom. Down it goes.
Scared me a little bit.
Right there. Anyway. Now we're going to get these. There's one on either side. These are 18 millimeter. So we're going to use the impact, hopefully, get those. And then up top along the side, there's 3 21 millimeters. We're going to get those. Okay, with this bracket, there's 3 of them up here. There's 3 nuts that hold this to the frame. You don't need a wrench for the back because they're all connected in their own bracket. So 21 millimeter, or what are we using? Standard, because we can't find the 21 millimeter. Another tool missing. 13/16 works great. You just take those 3 off and this bracket will fall, but be careful, it will fall on you.
And it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, so hold it up.
Hey Nick, tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about this job so far.
Pretty good, turning out pretty good. About done. Gotta get the other side after this.
Alright guys, so we've been tinkering with this for probably like 20-ish minutes, so in case any of you guys have a little bit of a challenge getting this bolt through there, if you want to point to it for him.
The track bar bolt, the main one?
Yeah, you'll find if you have your axle too high that it won't directly line up. This rod is or this bar is too far for it to line up. So if you lower the axle, you can kind of get it to line up easier. But just keep that in mind that it can be a challenge, because if you follow the directions, they want you to, like, you know, you can button up the shock and all these things. But if you're lowering the axle again, make sure you loosen all this so you don't, like, bust brake lines and you don't overextend your shock. So with a little tinkering, you should be able to get it, but we just wanted to kind of elaborate on that part, because if you follow the directions, it still might not line up for you. So anything else you want to add there, buddy?
Nope, we're going to take this and tighten it down to 250 foot-pounds, the track bar bolt. It does say lower the vehicle before you do that, but I don't see how that's even possible. You want to be able to get on it.
Yeah,
So
probably not.
we're going to tighten it down to 250 foot-pounds and go on to the next. All right, guys, now after we got that track bar relocation bracket on, now we're going to put the bump stop spacer in. Use your old factory bump mount. Put it, you'll see the little tab it has, and there's a spot on the spacer. It's that way you know which way to go. And then put the bolt with the washer that came with the kit up through there. And we're going to attach it in there in the factory location. Like so. Like that. And then we're gonna, I think you gotta put the 5 foot-pounds too. Then you gotta put the factory rubber stop in there. We put grease around the end just to make it a little easier to get up in there. You just kind of gotta push and twist at the same time. There you go. It'll go in easier with grease, so we're good there.
All right, after getting all those bump stops on, we have both sides complete with all the hardware installed. So I would recommend at this point doing a quick overview, making sure you have everything tightened. So we have this side all set. How's it looking over here?
Looks good. We checked the brake lines, the shock, the sway bar. Everything looks good.
All right, so now we're going to, at least for this side, we're going to raise up the scissor jack down here until we can get that bottle jack back in position. Otherwise, we won't be able to lift the axle high enough. Then once we get that all set, we can put on some tires and then tighten those back bolts. Radius arms up to, what was it, 200? 200 foot-pounds.
It says the joust the suspension. It says the joust the suspension a little bit. Then tighten those to 200. Make sure everything's tightened up. Then you're good to go. Guys, we have the tires back on. He's tightened them down to 165 foot-pounds. That's what it is on this. And then we're going to joust the suspension a little. And then tighten up the rear radius arms. And we should be set. And then we'll go on to put on the double or the dual steering stabilizers. Then this job will be complete.
All right, everybody. So we have the wheels straight right now, but this is a problem a lot of you guys are going to have. If you look right inside of here, steering wheel is not even. So you're going to have to make the adjustment on there. You can adjust this yourself. I know if you get alignments, they'll do it for you sometimes if you remind them or ask.
This is the spot right here where you'll rotate this to center your wheel. After you put that track bar relocation bracket on, your steering wheel is not going to be, it's going to be like a quarter turn off. You have to rotate this down like towards you, and that'll straighten your wheel out. Ours was kind of rusty, but we heated it up, lubed it, cleaned the threads, it worked. We were debating if we wanted to pull the steering wheel off and just straighten it that way, but we finally got this loose. So that's it. We're getting ready to take her for a test drive and see how it goes. Then we'll bring it back in and check all the bolts and everything, make sure everything's tight.
All right, everybody. That sums up this video. I mean, we still got to grab the alignment, tinker with the headlights, but
and put that new steering stabilizer on, but we're not going to shoot that one. We already did a video on that one.
Yeah, we don't want to confuse you guys or make you think it's any longer. So the leveling kit is successfully installed. I'll probably put a little bit of B-roll of the truck when it's out of the garage, because I know it's hard to get a... I mean, you could tell just from us standing here, if you go back to the beginning of the video, it's taller.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm only, like, what, 5'8"? So this is up there for me.
But it's only like 15 degrees outside, so we're not pulling it out right now. We'll wait a couple days, and when we go for the alignment, we'll get some B-roll of it. All right, guys, here she is, leveled. It's still the stock tires. Haven't decided if I'm changing them. I mean, I don't mind the way this looks. We'll go up here. You can see the Readylift in there. Looks pretty nice. Everything works good.
Overall, for like the addition, it's not too expensive. I don't know how much you actually spent for all of the stuff here.
I think it was $268 for the leveling kit with the one with the track bar. I think altogether with the newer shocks, the steering stabilizer, and the lift kit, we're talking maybe $500.
Which that's a good price. I mean, I saw for my truck, I got a quote at a garage. They were saying $400 with the alignment and installing it if I had the part. So yeah, about $500 would be about what I would be spending, because mine is just the pucks pretty much.
And yours could be a little cheaper if you didn't want to buy the other longer shocks and just use the extension that came in the kit. You can knock off $120.
It depends what you use your truck for a lot. Like he's pulling heavier stuff, you want to have a little bit better quality. Mine's a 150. It's not like I'm towing anything huge.
Major, right?
Yeah, just something small once in a while, so I don't have to worry too much about it. If you have any questions, just drop them below. I'll try to get to them and answer them the best I can if it's something I don't know. He probably knows.
Pause for a minute. Take a minute, hit that subscribe button. We noticed a lot of you guys didn't hit the subscribe button yet. Just click that button, subscribe. We appreciate that.
Yes, it takes like 1 second, and you might get a notification once in a while when we have a new video, but you're probably going to like it.
That's
something new. Yeah, it gives you something to look forward to. So we appreciate it. Make sure you slap that like button. We appreciate that too. It does take us a little bit longer to make these videos recording, so we hope it's something you guys will actually use and enjoy. So please leave some feedback in the comments if you want to see something done a little bit differently in our videos. If you have some suggestions, we're always open for that.
Don't forget to hit that bell notification.
Yeah, the big ol'.
Yeah, that way you'll definitely know when we post a video. We try to put them out as fast as we can, but northeast winter kind of slows it down.
Yeah, when it's like 10 degrees Fahrenheit outside, you don't want to do that much outside. Oh, it's not fun.
But
anything else?
that's it, guys. Until next time, try something new.
Do a little bit of everything.